and how she helped you express yourself and find a voice through writing. Nelissa raised a family before deciding to study for a degree in English, aged 42. Yes. And she's gone on to use her skills to facilitate creative writing workshops in prisons, schools, community centres for refugees and asylum seekers, and youth work settings, using poetry to encourage those who feel like their voices are silenced to be able to express themselves. It's such an inspiring story. Thank you. And Nelissa is going to read us a couple of her poems.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course you can. I'll see with the glasses.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me. I was invited by one of the young people's parents who go to the church that I go to. She had no idea that I was an ex-pupil at this school, but she just thought, oh, I liked the poems that you did, and you'd be good at coming into the school and sharing on this great occasion. I left school here in 1979. I stayed on an extra year. I didn't do as well as I could, I've got to say that, and that's because of personal reasons, and adolescence can sometimes take you a bit off the beaten track. But I was so blessed. I was a troubled teenager. I came from a large family, so if you didn't speak quick enough or your story wasn't exciting enough, you were shut down and devalued, and as a result I had maybe lots of frustration. But I had one teacher, I'd often be told get out of the class, but I had one teacher and she just said to me, Nelissa, sit down, take a pen and paper and just write, and don't listen to what we're doing, just write. So I'm so blessed that this lady had that for me. But what got me on my writing journey was we were told about a poet called Ted Hughes, and he was invited to come and receive an award. And the people said, one person said to him, how do we know you wrote that? Why don't you write a poem now? How do we know that you wrote that poem, or you wrote what you wrote? So he sat down, pen poised, waiting for what they call the muse, and then he started writing, and it was an exercise that was given to us to do. And I was sitting there thinking, oh wow, this is boring, and I've got a headache, in fact. So I actually wrote a poem called The Headache. My head is knocking, the sun's blinding me, blah blah. And there was a line in it, and it touches me still till today. And it was like, my father spoke the words of truth, but they came out blank. And what that meant was, sometimes as kids, you hear your parents talking and it doesn't always go in, they're just like nyang, 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 nyang. So the words came out blank, and it wasn't until later on in life that I actually understood that he was trying to give me advice and guidance. And so that's where creative writing started for me, and it was a form of a way of expressing myself, so I could take a pen and paper thereof. I'd get in trouble for my tone of voice, and often that's the reason I was put out of the class. And I found that the pen was my voice. So obviously writing things down, giving it to people where it was difficult conversations to be had, and saying, you read this, I'll be sitting here, and when you've read it, you can respond. And that's a tool for life that got me through. I think I wouldn't be here today without that teacher. I'll name her Mrs. Thurston, God rest her in peace. And so this school has positive memories for me. I'm still in touch with a lot of my friends from 50 years ago. So this is a book I wrote. It's a second edition, so it's not got the USB number. I used to go out into, as Hannah said, menopause brain, and to take my writing out, and free writing was a way of doing it. Islington Council asked me to come in and go around and do some creative writing for young people for their Black History Month, and I thought, oh no, one of the things about being at the school, what was frustrating for me was I come from mixed parentage. My dad was from West Africa, my mum was from the west coast of England, Somerset, and she was mixed. And so coming to school and saying, Miss, can we learn about Africa? And it's like, no, we're learning about this. And okay, well, can you tell me a bit about where my dad comes from? No, we're learning this. So I didn't have an identity, and I'd always keep being asked, where are you from, Nelissa? I think, well, where am I from? If I pick my mum, I'm going to not pick my dad. So this identity thing was really bothering me, because I'd get asked every other day, where are you from, where are you from? Whereas it might have been a better question now, where are your origins? But so yeah, anyway, I was inspired to write this book, Black History, and I wrote it from my own perspective, and because I thought, well, there's going to be kids who know more than me, because they're young kids and they've got more knowledge, there's more materials accessible. So a friend of mine took my poems and she said to me, give me your poems, and she produced a lovely book for me, and I've been blessed to take this pen and this book, and so I'll just share 2 poems from there for you. I write about everything and anything, and my work's on YouTube because I got mobility issues and couldn't go out everywhere that I want to go and, just spread the word. So yes, this is called Is What You See What You Know. African me is what you see, but looking underneath, do you really know me? Do you see beneath my skin the person that lives within? My father came from West Africa. He was born in Guinea-Bissau. If it were not for him, I wouldn't be here now. Whoops, but wait, what of my mummy? After all, I grew in her tummy. She was born in England, over in the west, a place called Bridgewater, in the cider country called Somerset. So that makes me made up of 2. Did I mention my granny Eliza? No? Okay, she was a Jew. My granddad Adam was a child slave taken from West Africa and made to help rebuild the second part of the Panama Canal. Stolen out of Africa, resettled in the Caribbean, my mum told us his tale. Vera, my mum's elder sister, was born of these 2 great folk. She was the first registered black child born there, in Bridgewater. Can you imagine the talk? So I guess it's no longer only 2. Seems there are more blood cultures running through. These veins of mine that give me life have helped me to understand other people's strife. So who am I? You may well ask. I used to be confused about this task, and then I remembered all the colours under the sun were created to blend and make us as one. My skin was brown, my hair was black. I decided nothing could hold me back. I count myself as an African, although I was born in England into different cultures, not to be eaten by the human vultures who could pick me to pieces and leave me to rot. Should I let this happen? No, I should not. I am an African woman, proud of my roots, of my rich mixed cultures, and I'm glad of the truth. Without the truth, I'd not know my roots. Then it would be someone else standing here in my boots. For knowledge is power, we have been shown. Time to let our history be known. Thank you. Who am I? This is a poem that I included in the 2nd edition, just on the last page, and I will like to donate some of these to the school. My next book up, yeah, definitely. I'd like it to go in the next auction. And so we know that there's an epidemic going on, and I like to write about things that are relevant and things that sometimes are difficult to speak about. So we know there's a gun and knife crime situation going on, and it's trying to be made the norm, but it's not the norm, and this is questions that I'd like and I ask young people and adults to think about. It's called Children, What is Going On? Children, children, what is going on? The system you are creating is so very wrong. To take a life with a gun or a knife, it means the ruin of so many lives. What is the point of killing for ego? Can't you learn to let things go? Don't you see the misery that's left behind for the families? When? When is it going to end? How many friends or loved ones in this way have you lost? Or don't you really give a toss? What kind of world do you want to exist if people are killed at the first sign of a rift? What happened to talking or a straightforward fist fight? Instead, you want to replace it with a gun or a knife. How many more lives will be stolen like this, robbing loved ones of a future, stuck in a dark pit? When is it going to end? Wake up now before it's too late, and you end up living in a world of hate. You will be the parents of the next generation to come, and I pity them because of what is being done. Think of the pain caused